You earn money. You budget. So why does saving still feel impossible? You're not reckless. You're not lazy. You're not secretly bad with money. Yet every month feels the same. You promise yourself you'll save next month. And next month arrives, already spoken for. This isn't a personal failure. It's something bigger. And it's happening right now. Because saving money used to be simple. Not easy, but simple. Earn more than you spend, put the rest aside, repeat for years. That logic built entire generations of financial stability. But that logic quietly broke, and nobody announced it. Let's talk about why this matters today. Because the advice you keep hearing, cut expenses, skip luxuries, be disciplined, was designed for an older economic machine, one where costs moved slowly, one where income had room to breathe, one where patience was rewarded. That world doesn't exist anymore. Today, your money doesn't stretch, it collides. Here's how the system actually works now. Start with housing. In the past, rent was a large expense, but predictable. Today, rent behaves like a surprise bill. It resets, it jumps, it ignores your salary. Housing alone now eats 35 to 50% of income for millions of people, before food, before transport, before everything else. Then come the non-negotiables: healthcare, insurance, phones, internet, basic utilities. None of these feel optional anymore. They're the cost of participation. Now add food. Not luxury dining, not indulgence, just groceries quietly rising week after week. Individually, none of this feels dramatic. Together, they suffocate margin. And margin is where saving used to live. Let's do the uncomfortable math. Say you earned $3,000 a month after tax. Rent takes $1,200, bills and essentials take another $1,000, transport and food take $600. You haven't saved anything yet. You're already at $2,800. That last $200? That's not savings, that's exposure. One price spike, one unexpected bill, one small emergency. Gone. So instead of saving money, you're buffering against instability. That's the shift nobody talks about. Saving used to be proactive. Now, money management is defensive. And here's where inflation does its quiet damage. Inflation doesn't just raise prices. It changes psychology. When money loses value over time, waiting feels stupid. Delaying feels risky. Saving feels pointless. So people spend faster, not because they're careless, but because the future feels more expensive than the present. That's why just invest became the loudest advice, and also the most misleading. Because investing only works on surplus, and surplus is what's disappearing. You can't compound money you never get to keep, yet the system keeps acting like you can. Scroll social media and you'll see it everywhere. Everyone can build wealth. Anyone can invest. Just start small. True in theory, cruel in practice. Because starting small doesn't help if the ground keeps moving. And now zoom out. When saving becomes rare, risk explodes. One emergency turns into debt. Debt turns into dependency. Dependency removes choice. This is how people become trapped, not suddenly, but quietly, month by month. Ironically, the economy depends on people spending, but punishes them when they can't save. So pressure shifts downward, from institutions to individuals. You feel it as stress, as guilt, as the sense that you're always behind even when you're doing everything right. That feeling isn't accidental. It's what happens when the rules change mid-game. You're told to plan long-term inside a system that destabilizes the short-term. That contradiction is why saving feels impossible now. Not because you failed, but because stability has become optional. So the real question isn't how to save more. It's this: what happens to a society where saving money is no longer normal and surviving month to month is? And if this is the new baseline, what does that mean for the next 10 years if nothing actually changes? That's the part nobody wants to answer yet.